Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we're looking at the much hyped The Prince and the Dressmaker, written and illustrated by Wang and published by First Second in 2018. It ended up winning both a 2019 Eisner Award and a 2018 Harvey Award. It will also obviously be featured in my next A to Z of Queer Comic Lit video. Content notes for secret identity, parental pressure, public outing, and queerphobia. Clicking over to her website, Jen Wang describes herself as, quote, the award-winning NYT bestselling author and illustrator of several graphic novels for young readers, including Stargazing, The Prince and the Dressmaker, In Real Life, co-written with Cory Doctorow, and Coco Be Good. She is also a co-founder and organizer for Comic Arts LA. She lives in Los Angeles. Keywords that came to mind reading this book: royalty, industrial age, merchant class, Cinderella, courting scandal, career, secrets, fashion, coming of age, and self-discovery. Clicking back to Goodreads, the official synopsis is, quote, Paris at the dawn of the modern age. Prince Sebastian is looking for a bride, or rather his parents are looking for one for him. Sebastian is too busy hiding his secret life from everyone. At night he puts on daring dresses and takes Paris by storm as the fabulous Lady Crystallia, the hottest fashion icon in the world capital of fashion. Sebastian's secret weapon is his brilliant dressmaker Francis, his best friend and one of only two people who know the truth. Sometimes this boy wears dresses. But Francis dreams of greatness, and being someone's secret weapon means being a secret. Forever. How long can Francis defer her dreams to protect her friend? Jen Wang weaves an exuberantly romantic tale of identity, young love, art, and family. A fairy tale for any age. The Prince and the Dressmaker will steal your heart. End quote. A bit of a coincidence that both of my queer reads for this month have been middle grade. The Prince and Dressmaker is definitely a bit more all ages than Tell No Tales, although the end feels a bit inexplicably happy. Can't really complain in the face of so much queer suffering. But if this was a book targeted at an older audience, I feel like there would have had to have been more explanation / lead up to a happy ending. Perhaps you could say the world and plot were painted in rather broad strokes. Not that the story lacks explicable conflict. The relationship at the center of the story is not ideal. Prince Sebastian makes choices that stress and hurt Francis in a way that is really not fair. Her journey and the choices she makes along the way made sense within the context of the story, and I was happy to see her tread her own path. And the way that Sebastian grows through these conflicts is edifying. Do not expect this book to be the least bit historically accurate. Scrolling through the one-star reviews as I do, and anachronisms were very distracting in general. And I do end up agreeing that it would have been better to set the story in a fictional faraway land, as nothing really required it to be set in a so-called real world. Plus, I guess originally Sebastian was the Prince of Belgium and son of King Leopold of Belgium, which was a really, really, really horrible choice. Thankfully, within that 2-star review, they did provide captions that illustrated that these elements were officially changed at some point, although my well-worn and battered library copy does appear to have the original text, which totally went over my head. So gross! The art is very nice. Looking at sexuality and gender, obviously there's a lot of things being played with. For better or for worse, nothing really seems labeled, which could have been done pretty easily, as otherwise the language and plot is very modern, although there is definitely very good reasons to keep things open and nebulous and not encouraging people to pin themselves down at an early age to being any one thing. Even as an aging millennial, I don't feel like I've necessarily fully arrived in my own gender and sexuality journey, but it's more about the journey than the destination. Race, as I already alluded to, was perhaps intentionally, cartoonishly whitewashed over. Does that make it better or worse that everyone in the story was white anyway? I am glad that they broke with it being specifically Belgium and specifically King Leopold and family, but this sort of rose-tinted glasses of really horrendous historical figures is way too common. Class was more front and center than what I generally expect, although honestly Francis is stuck picking between the seemingly lesser of two evils, finding success in the burgeoning department store scene after being held back by the monarchy. At least it was clear that she could not subsist on simply propping up her rich friend's secret identity. Although knowing that one cannot just pull oneself up by one's bootstraps, Sebastian's toxic patronage is still one of the things that helps push her career forward. In contrast, everyone seems to be assumed able-bodied and the reality of disability is completely ignored. To conclude, this is certainly one of those books that I started out with one rating in mind, but through writing the review, I came to a different conclusion. Obviously, I would love to have a perfect opinion already queued before I schedule these things, but that is what scheduling, reading, and reviewing these books is supposed to teach me. TLDR, I think I'm going with a 3 stars for now. Bye y'all, keep reading and organize to end capitalist depression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.